Welcome back to Operations Unfiltered, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of influencer and talent management. I'm your host and your favorite marketing project manager girly, Zarina. Today, I'm joined by someone who's played a key role in my own professional journey. Kanika Watson is a leadership coach, consultant. I like to refer to her as your personal business bestie. She's also the founder of Kanika M. Watson Consulting. Kanika was once my manager during our time in higher education, and this conversation truly felt like a full circle moment. It honestly reminded me of our times in her office back at the higher education institution, which I'll name in our episode description. But anyway, we got real about what it means to lead with faith, not just in life, but in the workplace as well. Kanika shared how being laid off from the federal government tested everything she knew about stability, purpose, and success, but ultimately deepened her relationship with God and set her on her own path. This episode is truly for anyone navigating uncertainty, holding on to faith, and learning how to lead boldly and unapologetically, even when life doesn't go as planned. So, without further ado, let's get into this week's episode of Operations Unfiltered. Thank you so much for joining. I personally know you, but for those who don't know, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and your business?
Sure. Well, I am the CEO and founder of Kanika M. Watson Consulting. And so my firm it's been around for a little bit. I've been doing this work for years, but I officially made it a business a few years ago because I was doing this work, pro bono,
Yeah, of
helping
course.
women. Yes, helping women especially, but professionals in general, but
Mhm.
especially women of color, and really helping them to, build their leadership skills, help them with advancement, help them navigate the tough spaces they have to encounter, a lot of the barriers that we experience, and just
Yeah.
really trying to make sure that women feel supported. But also other professionals as well. Again, I work in a lot of different areas. I've worked in government, I've worked
Yeah.
in nonprofit, academia. So all those experiences brought together and those environments are really helpful to inform how I work with my clients.
Mm,
Yeah, it's a little bit about the business.
yes. And I know, like I said, I know you personally. I work with you, and I know that you wear so many different hats. You're a wife, mom, business owner, of course, woman of faith. And can you walk me through a day in the life of Kanika Watson? What does that
Yeah,
look like?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, no 2 days are alike. I mean, it's different every day, but
Mhm.
really my core priorities are really my family,
Yeah.
my faith, as you mentioned, and then also purpose. Purpose is really strong for me. My mornings are really crazy.
I'm
But they
sure.
are sacred, right? All of the time. But, I spent some time with God to begin my day. Also
Mhm.
getting my son, my 10-year-old son, ready for school and drop
10.
him off.
Oh my goodness. Wait a
Yes,
minute.
he's
10
10.
is crazy.
I know. Time
10?
9, it could be 11 next month. So
Oh
time is
my
just,
goodness.
yeah, it's just flown by so quickly. But
He was
he-
like 5 when I
I
met you. Oh
know, isn't it crazy? And he's
my
just
goodness.
just grown so quickly. And he's 10, even though he's going to be 11, he's 10 going on 18. So
Oh, I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I have a 3-year-old going on
Oh my
23.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I can't wait to see pictures.
I know. I definitely will share because she's a little
Thank you.
model.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so my days are, like I said, my days are different. My daytime hours are really business, especially
Mhm.
lately. Coaching, creating content, sometimes leading strategy sessions. Those are my days. And then my evenings really are for coaching clients. That's when a lot of them are available. So I
Mhm.
reserve that time for them. But then I also make sure I reconnect with family. That's
Yeah.
critical, really important to me. That's the number one thing for me. I realize my son is growing, like we just talked about,
Yes, you
so
blink and
quickly.
they're,
Yep,
like you said, 18.
will be very soon. And I don't want to
Yeah.
lose that time. So, I
Yeah.
try to make sure I spend quality time with him. And then one thing I've learned in my journey is to also reserve some time for me. So I
Mm.
do that every day. So that's
Oh
what's
my
also,
goodness.
yeah,
We're gonna have to touch on that because I
yeah.
think me as a budding entrepreneur, as someone who's still highly ingrained in the corporate life, I definitely need to work on that me time. So I definitely want to pick your brain about that.
Okay, well, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. But I you mentioned that you work a lot with executives, women of color. Can you describe to me what your ideal or what the customer that you've worked with in the previous, what that persona is? Like who are they? What do they do? And how do you help them?
Sure, so it ranges, but primarily it's mid-career,
Mhm.
and then going all the way up through executives and also entrepreneurs.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, but obviously because I am myself, but also in general, it's been really helpful getting them helped start with their businesses, helping them build out messaging, branding strategy, thinking through their next steps strategically, That's
Yeah.
been a huge piece. But my customer primarily is women of color. I do obviously work with all professionals, but women of color have definitely been a focus area for me. And so you're really working with that woman who wants to advance in her career, who might be pivoting in her career, who might be looking for just something new to do, want to step out and take on a new project, or maybe wants to
Yeah.
lead an initiative and needs some assistance in thinking through strategy around it. So I really help with clients in those types of situations. Also, career branding, which is what people call personal branding. I step into that realm as well because of the branding background, because I'm also a public relations leader as well. So that obviously, when you link in career and link in my background, that's definitely an area of focus. So helping people with branding, and that could be a range of things. I mean, thinking through their messaging strategy for,
Mhm.
if they're moving into an executive role,
Yep.
thinking through how to rebrand their career. So if they're thinking about a pivot, how do we look at that resume? How do we look at that messaging strategy around how they'll present themselves, whether it's an interview, whether it is they're thinking about thought leadership, or stepping
Yeah, it
out?
really sounds like you're
Yeah,
like their business bestie, to be
I
honest
kind
with
of
you. I
am.
like
Yeah, I
that.
love how you put that, but yeah.
A corporate business bestie, and we
Yes,
all need them. I like to
yes,
think of it also as like a project manager for your personal brand, and
that
people
is
don't think
true.
of it like that, but
People
that's what
don't.
you are. That's what I'm thinking of.
It is something people sometimes overlook. They just go straight to resume, and it's beyond the
Mhm.
resume. It's really how you present yourself, your executive presence, and some people you call it leadership presence, but it's
Yeah.
all about the whole package. So resume certainly is a teaser because it gets you in the door. But once you get in that door, how do you present yourself to whomever you're interviewing with? It could be
Mhm.
a client, it could be a contract you're trying to secure, it could be even just providing someone some background on what you're about to launch as far as your new business. So a lot of little things tie into that.
A lot of little mile markers that make up the whole piece, the whole
Yes,
puzzle. Yeah, so I
absolutely.
love that, and like I said, I really would think of you as the business bestie because that is so needed.
It
And,
is.
you mentioned your resume. Can we
Mhm.
get a little rundown of your resume and how
Sure.
it's landed you where you are today with your consulting business?
Sure, absolutely. So I went to Howard University.
The real HU from
The
what I'm
real,
told.
yes, that's the real HU for sure. And so I went there and I met the mentor who I've had forever. In fact, I'm going to Howard for graduation with her. It's going to be awesome. She's one of the commencement speakers for our School of C, which is where I went. But
Yeah.
I started there and she really nudged me early because I was a budding writer and wanted to do some work in public relations. I was also in the English space with literature, but she
Mhm.
was like, public relations is something you should consider. And
Hmm.
so from that point on, I fell in love with it. I started there. I started doing work as early as a junior in college, thinking about clients, working with small public relations
We
firms.
love a good internship. You were prepared. I
Yes,
love that. Start
yes.
early. If you don't take
Start
anything from it,
early.
start early.
Start early. And then even, step out on faith because I did. I got clients and I wasn't expecting to do that. I was nervous. But yeah, so it started that early. And so then from there, I moved up, I went into the nonprofit world and I worked there, worked at the Heart Association and other nonprofits. And then eventually I landed in government and I had been there for quite some time. And then also higher education where we met.
Yes.
Yep. So, I've had my experiences have crossed industries and also the corporate space as well, working with clients and so forth. So I've had a great run, still working, obviously building and building, but
Yeah.
definitely have a diverse background. And public relations has been the focus. I've worked on internal and external comms. I've done work on branding campaigns.
I can definitely attest to this.
Yes,
We've worked on many of campaigns. So,
yeah,
yes, I can definitely attest to that. And
yes,
going down your own resume, I can see the pivots that you made, even with the industry switches that
yeah,
you made. And I know even with myself, I've had a few different industries, and it's scary to do that. I know so many
it
people are
is.
fearful of doing that. And I wonder what helped you stay grounded during those seasons of change and what advice could you give to someone in those seasons of change?
Oh, sure. That's definitely, something that a lot of us are encountering now more than ever. This has been a season of change for so many people. But I would say every transformation or transition, I would say, has refined me. Working in government taught me discipline and structure.
Yeah.
Most times it was
I can
structure.
imagine.
Yes. And some of it I created myself because sometimes there were some situations where there was no structure because we
Yeah.
were new, we were starting out. One of the things I'm really proud of is building an operation within, the government agency I was working in and from the ground up. And that was an
Mm.
internal strategic communications component and it was from the ground up. So that was structure I created, but it bloomed, it expanded, and it became a huge focus of the work that I did for years there. And it's still, I think it's, I don't know if it's still there, but with all the changes, but it was
Right.
last time I checked.
So much going on in the government space,
So
and I
much going
definitely
on.
want to
Yes.
tap in there because I'm sure you shared. I've seen on LinkedIn, and I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing, but I know that a lot of people were impacted by the federal
Oh,
government layoffs, and I'm
yeah.
not sure if you were impacted or if you feel comfortable sharing about that. But if so, how did you turn that challenge into a new opportunity? Because I always want
Yeah.
to look at the glass half full versus it half empty.
No, I agree with you, and that's the way I've chosen to look at it too. I mean, naturally, when you go through a layoff, and I was part of layoffs where I was working, and it was definitely an unexpected jolt. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw in the news things were
And
happening
I'm so
around us.
sorry for that because that
I
is
know.
not a good feeling at
It is
all.
not. It's not. But you know what? I looked at it differently, and this was, took some time to get there. It's not an
Mhm.
overnight thing, but I do look at it as divine redirection. And so that took me, a little time to get there. But, really, I felt like for a long time, I felt this really quiet nudge that really helped me align with my purpose. And I knew that I needed to, most people are wed to their jobs because they're worried about stability. And in the government, we're known for stability, benefits.
Yeah.
Yes, and then that sense of purpose and duty. So when that happened to me, when the layoff happened, it was painful,
Mhm.
personally and professionally, it absolutely did sting. But it did give me the space for clarity. And that's
Mm,
what I now, looking back now, appreciate a bit. I was finally able to go all into the business. I hadn't
yeah.
had that opportunity before because I was working really hard. And so really, I've been coaching and supporting professionals behind the scenes, and this was for a long time, as I mentioned. And so I now have the freedom to continue building.
I love
Really,
that. God,
yes,
you pivoted. This word pivot is so
it is.
it keeps being repeated because I feel
It
like that
is.
is just the stage and season that we're in. Everybody's in, but especially for you.
Yeah.
And I'm congratulating you. I do want to extend my condolences because that's a hard thing to do. And
It
I've
is.
experienced a layoff too. And you spoke about making time for yourself in your
Yes.
day to day. But with this experience specifically, what did that day look like? How did you take time to pour into yourself? Did you hit
Well,
the ground running immediately, or did you have a self-care day, a spa day, waiting to exhale moment maybe,
I
you know?
know. So some of that happened, and I would say as late as last week. This is, I would say, more the exhale piece. When
Yeah.
it happened, for me as a leader, I always think about the people that I work with,
Oh,
people
so
I
sweet.
serve.
Oh my God.
Yes. And so I was worried about their well-being, myself as well. So I didn't,
Yeah.
neglect myself. But at the time when all this happened, that's the first thing that I was thinking about is that transition and how this is going to impact everyone around me. And
Mm,
we lost a lot of people. It wasn't just myself and a few people, it was the entire operation. So it was really difficult.
wow.
Yeah. And so that was the thought. And so my processing was really focused there for a
Mhm.
while. And it took me a matter of days to really finally take a breath,
Mm.
think about what truly happened, even second guessing myself. Did this happen?
Did this really happen? Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. I
It
can
took some
imagine.
time. Yeah. And I just literally, it took me, it's been a month now, and it took me some time, but I did finally take a waiting to exhale moment, like you said.
Yes, and I hope it was a good one. I hope you
It was
threw
a
a
good one.
couple
It was.
things.
It
Maybe you
was.
should schedule an appointment at a rage room. I hear they're
I
all the
heard
rage.
about that. Yes. I might
Yeah.
have to take you up on that. Yes.
Ah, yeah. Look, we can do a group date because I
I
listen.
know.
But honestly, you've mentioned in addition to your consulting business that you've built things from the ground up. And again, I
Yes.
can attest to it at the higher education institution that we
Mhm.
met at. You've built things from the ground up. And
Yes.
I wonder, how do you define that as you're building your consulting business from the ground up? What do you define as operational excellence in your business? What does that look like for you?
So for me, operational excellence is really personal. It's deeply personal. It's really about building a business that works for my life. I
Mm.
learned that the hard way because I did pour a lot into others, sometimes neglecting myself and not really thinking about the impacts. And so really this time around, it's really about building a business that works for me and not the other way around.
I
And
love that. Come
yes,
on. This is a business for me. Hello.
yes,
What does that look like? What is that? For example, are you blocking off certain out of
yes,
hours of the day versus leaving your schedule open? I know I'm doing that personally.
yes.
Like, I love that.
No, I agree with you, and that is certainly where I am. I call it the soft CEO life. And so,
Ooh,
yeah,
I coined that.
yes, yes, and so it definitely is values aligned, is sustainable, And I have created systems to create space for excellence. And so this is without all the chaos. I've been surrounded by that a lot in the workplaces I've been in. And so really streamlining client onboarding, providing clear communication, and then boundaries. That's
Oh,
important. Boundaries.
come on, boundaries.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
in my boundary setting season. It took me
yes,
a long time to get here, but I'm so happy that I'm here. But come on,
yes.
boundaries.
Yes, that is important. I know in the past I've neglected them.
Hmm.
And so now I honor them and I try to make sure my clients do the same. Set them,
Speak
honor
a
them.
little bit about that. Like, how do you help them move from strategic vision to execution? Because I know sometimes a lot of my clients get stuck in that ideation
Yeah.
phase, and then I have to come in and help be the hall monitor, if you will, like, get to class,
Yes.
like, you get to
And
your
you're so good at that.
destination.
You are so good at that. You've helped me in so many ways too. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. I really help them slow down. That's one thing.
Mhm.
Is a lot of women, especially, like I said, all professionals I work with, but women in particular, I notice that they feel like they have to do so much.
Yeah.
And so I try to get them to slow down and get clear. Powerful
Mm.
vision means nothing if you're stuck in your head and you have scattered sticky notes all over the place.
Come
So,
on, and
yeah.
you yelling at me. I have sticky notes. I need
Oh,
to
wait,
get
hold up. It's okay. But organizing them and defining what success actually looks like for you. That's important. It's not about outcomes, but you want to make sure that you want to feel and show up and lead. You want to make sure you show up and lead. And so
Mm.
from there, once we get clear, I reverse engineer the path, help them break their vision down into clear phases, help them prioritize what matters and right now. And then we co-create an action plan, something that's
Come
really
on. It's giving agile
achievable.
sprint. I love
Yes,
this.
that is what it is. That is what it is. And it really is like part strategy, part mindset, and then also part accountability. So it
Mm.
really helps to pull those things together. And then my role really is to help them move forward, and
Yeah.
move from that overwhelm stage if they're in that and move to ownership.
Mm. And speak a little bit about what accountability looks like. Is that like a "you yelling at me" type of thing? What does that look like?
So that's me reminding you, and this is really like I said, we co-create the plan,
Mhm.
and so I'm just there to provide support and a reminder that you matter. One, your voice, own it. Two, and then really thinking through what is your vision and meet yourself there. And so finding ways to do that in achievable ways. And so I just remind my clients when we meet again what we may have talked about, what we may have set as goals and just keeping them aware of where they are, what they've put in front of themselves to make sure they achieve them. So just being that sort of like that person on the side, almost like your little crew on the
Yeah, a
side.
coach.
Yes, to
You
just
know
like
what? I think
reminding
some
you.
content creators could use you as well because I mean,
Yes,
my role in business is really to treat for content creators to learn how to treat themselves as a business and not
yeah,
just like a hobby. So, thinking of
yes,
your personal brand, thinking of the systems that you use to promote your content.
yes.
And that's why I'm so excited and proud of you for your consulting position
Oh,
because I've seen you on LinkedIn. I've seen you implement the practices that you're what you preach. So,
thank you. I
and to
appreciate
that
that.
point, this is a question that I always ask of my guests. Do you consider yourself a content creator or an influencer?
That's a great question. Can I cheat and say both? I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
you
because part of
absolutely
it
can.
yeah, because part of it and the content creation piece, it comes naturally because of my profession, so that's why I say I gotta kinda but then at the same time, I'm hoping that the influencer side of me is helping women and professionals all over really help them show up, help them feel, they are supported, especially those who are going through struggles like layoffs,
Mhm.
pivots, career shifts, whatever it might be, feeling supported. So I try to influence through some of the words that I say by sharing my story,
Mm.
sharing with them even nuggets and gems of information that may be helpful for them because I've gone on that journey that they may be currently starting, and providing them with insights and giving them that advice that they may not be able to get in their workplace or around whomever they may be surrounded with. Some
Yeah,
of us are riding solo in these workplaces,
absolutely.
and don't have support, and a crew on the side to help nudge them along. So I'm hoping that the influencer side is helpful to women and to other professionals. I'm hoping that it's inspiring. uplifting,
I can
empowering.
tell you that it is because
Thank
I know
you.
that you live what you're preaching. I know you
Yes.
personally and I operate. That's why I wanted to have you on the show because
Thank
at
you.
Operations Unfiltered, I really want to ensure that people have the right people, processes, and tools in their
Yes.
toolbox to ensure that they're
Yes.
successful. That's what I do in corporate. That's what I aim to do with Live More Agency. And I feel like you are not only do you have the right people, processes, and tools in your toolbox, but you give people some tools
Thank
and
you.
processes that they can use. So
I hope so. And I'm going to continue doing it because I know right now
please.
this is the season. And I appreciate that. Your compliments are so awesome. Thank you.
It's
But I
because they're
really,
lived experiences.
oh, thank you. They are. We've gone through them together, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So no, I
And
appreciate that.
and one thing that I can really say is that you've always had a sense of even though it's quiet sometimes,
Uh-huh.
the sense of faith that you have, I can feel it. It's super strong
Thank you.
and it feels like it's central to both your personal and your professional life. And I want to know how does it influence how you make decisions in business? Because that sometimes I feel like that's it just voice of God disguises itself as imposter syndrome or sometimes I can't hear clear because I of the imposter syndrome. So I'm wondering how do you fight through that to make those decisions that you need to make to be successful or even make those uncomfortable decisions?
No, I think that's a great question. And faith is not a side note, it is foundation for me.
Mm,
It shapes how I serve my clients, and how I say yes or even no. And then also it helps me navigate uncertainty, like what I just really recently experienced.
yeah.
I feel like, my business is a calling I answered. So it's
I
not
know that's
just,
right.
yes, it's not just a goal I pursued. So for me, it's foundation to everything that I do. So yes, definitely faith is definitely a part of my journey.
Truly living out loud, I think I'm
Yes.
getting to the point now where I can not feel so awkward about it, and
Mhm.
especially in public settings and corporate settings. What advice would you give to other people who want to get to that point where they can openly and integrate it into their everyday life if they're a little timid and they don't want to
Yeah.
compromise or feel like they're not being professional?
I think that's a great question too. And absolutely, you can honor your faith without preaching it out loud. You don't have to, it's up to you. But definitely let it show up in how you treat people. That's
Mm,
important as a leader, especially how you make decisions, and then how you show up in the workplace or wherever you might be, your business, your community, whatever it might be.
mhm.
It's your quiet anchor. I know for me, that's what it is. It's not
Yeah.
something I preach out loud, but something that I keep in the back of my mind. And it really is sort of the compass for me. It guides everything I do. And I tell my clients, when you live your values and it's very clear, your presence speaks for itself. You don't even have
Oh,
to
I love
say
that.
anything. Yeah,
Oh,
you don't have to say anything. It's there.
yeah, it's and I always say that about you. You had a quiet elegance. I always call myself the modern Southern belle because I'm from Houston and I have that
Yeah,
little Southern, but I feel like I have a little sass. That's why it's the
I
modern
love it.
part.
I
But
love
you
it.
always exude that Southern belle energy, meaning
Thank
it's how
you.
you act. And it's probably a godlike energy that you're exuding. So
I
I
feel
want
like
to
it
say that
is.
I personally experienced that. I
Thank
don't
you. I
know.
appreciate that. And like I said, I don't have to preach anything. It's and anyone, I think I feel the same about you as well. You definitely give off that vibe as well. And it's a beautiful part of you. And I think that, as long as your values are clear, you know what they are, you live
Yeah.
them, it comes right out of you. It's a
I
natural
love
part of
that.
you.
Oh, you're gonna make me
Yeah.
cry. Come on. Listen, I'm saying you anybody who needs a business bestie, we need to come on over to Kanika M. Watson Consulting. And
Yes.
then I bring customers to you because you might be booked and busy already. So
Yeah, I look, bring them on. I love it. I love it. I want to help. I really do. It's my
yes.
passion.
And
So yes.
but like I mentioned, the reason why I'm so happy that you're here is because I have been managed by you before. And the reason why I took that job is because I was looking for someone, a woman of color. And I told you this in my interview. I
Yes, you
said I
did.
needed somebody who is a person of color who can pour into me.
Yes.
And I wonder what is your leadership philosophy, if you will, and how do you mentor emerging professionals? Because you already know that you've helped me. I remember the day you left too. I was on vacation. I was in Houston. I was eating my good Whataburger and I got the call
Oh,
and I hung up the phone. I couldn't even eat. I was like, "Oh my God." But yeah.
I know. I know. I'm so glad we're still connected.
I me too.
I am. But no, I appreciate that so much. It really means a lot to hear you say that. I really do
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I really appreciate working with you as well. It was a great experience working together.
It was. It
It was,
was. I
it
learned
certainly
so
was.
much.
Oh my God, we did. And we encountered so much together. And
Yes.
I appreciate that too. We went on that journey together. We learned together. So
Hmm.
it was great. But my leadership philosophy has always really been rooted in vision, empathy, and care. I did not see that a lot coming up with my own supervisors and leaders I've been encountered over the years. So I really made sure that was part of my makeup as a leader and
Yeah.
also growth. For me, emerging leaders, it's really about planting the seeds and helping to create a space where they can rise,
Yeah.
not just perform. Want to make sure that they have the opportunity to grow. I definitely believe in setting a clear vision. Like I mentioned earlier, leading with empathy is really important. And then creating that space, which I didn't always have myself, where you feel seen and you're
Mm.
heard, in making sure that you are an inclusive environment. But really, I try to mentor professionals. I don't just focus on the task at hand. I try to invest in that person, that individual. And I've had large teams that's not always very easy, but I
Yeah.
try to make the time to do that. I've been, fortunate to have some amazing talents, my team yourself included, various teams. You can
Thank you.
say
Look,
them.
my resume was helped out because Kanika poured into me. That's all I can say. It's
Oh,
attributed to you. It really, like I said, we were only together for, it felt like such a short time, but you really, really made a lasting impression on
oh,
my
well,
career.
thank you. I
So,
appreciate that.
yeah.
I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to understand from you, what do you think we often get wrong about leadership, especially as women of color in professional
Yeah.
spaces, especially given what we've gone through together, what you've experienced solo? What do leaders get wrong?
I think one thing we often get wrong in leadership, especially women of color, is equating strength with silence and survival.
Ooh,
I feel like this is an unspoken pressure that we carry. We carry
childhood
everything.
trauma.
I know we outperform to prove ourselves constantly, but true leadership isn't about overfunctioning. And I've learned this in my journey. It's not about being strong all the time. That's
Yeah.
something we feel like we have to do as a badge of honor. It's about creating space for authenticity, rest, as I mentioned before, and then shared responsibility. I just wrote a piece, actually, so funny you mentioned this. I just wrote a piece that just I published this morning on LinkedIn, and it's
I'm gonna have to go
about,
check it out.
yeah, it's called The Real Cost of Powering Through When
I
Strong
love that.
isn't safe. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I
I
tied it
love
into mental
that.
health.
Being
Yes.
strong isn't safe.
It
I
isn't
love
safe.
that. And I
Yep.
think that so many people of color are understanding that rest is
Yeah.
resistance. I'm
That's right.
learning that myself
Yeah.
because, to your point, that's
Yeah.
the reason why I was just trying to climb the ladder. So I want to be a senior this, I want to be a people manager, but
Yeah.
there is something to be said about, growing in your role that you're in and that
True.
being okay. There's
That's
you
true.
always have to keep going, keep going. So I'm
Yes.
learning that.
No, and look, I'm still, even though I feel like I've mastered it to an extent because I've been through so much.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about it enough.
Hmm.
I think that we do a lot, especially women of color. We mask, we code switch, we suppress our own needs, and that's to keep everything
Heavy.
going. And I think that's something we've all just naturally learned. We were taught in some cases, and it shouldn't require us to lose ourselves, honestly, to be a leader. It really needs to let us be our full selves and bring that to the table. And for me, the real power is really when change happens, when we really realize what we're doing. And some people, like I said, it takes some time to get there. But I put that piece out this morning to help people who might be in the midst of it and haven't recognized it yet to really take notice. So I'm
Oh
hoping that
my
it's a
goodness,
helpful
I'm
piece.
listening. I'm
Yes, I hope
listening.
I hope it's helpful. But
I'm
really I had to go through it myself to be able to speak about it today, honestly. So
Yeah, I'm gonna link it in the podcast description
awesome.
notes for everybody to go check it out because I
Yes,
think that that's
please.
something we're all in a season of. We need to slow down. To your point that you mentioned earlier about how executives, we all need to slow down. Oh my
We do need
goodness, I'm
to.
gonna
We
read
do.
it.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yes, but you have all these things going on, everything's moving fast. What does success look like for you at this stage of your life and your career?
Success for me is knowing that I'm doing the work that honors my calling, like I mentioned.
I love
And I want to make a lasting impact and I want to build a legacy. That's what success looks like to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you could sum it up, what does one operational or mindset shift that changed everything for you? Whether it be with your work, with your
Uh-huh.
career pivot, personal.
I think for me, the theme that we've pretty much come across in this conversation has been the rest theme.
Yeah.
Learning to rest without guilt. That took some time to get there. So that for me was a mind shift, totally a mind shift. When you stop equating worth to output, I definitely became a better leader, better wife, better mom, and a better businesswoman. So that's what I would say. That rest element, I come back to that theme. We've been talking about it throughout our conversation, but I really believe in it.
You are speaking to my soul right now.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's why I'm over here crying. Oh my
I love
goodness.
it.
I need you to give me one affirmation that you use because I'm trying to live in this soft girl era that you
Sure.
are
Yes,
exhibiting.
please. Please do. You have to.
I'm trying, but please give me all of the resources. But like I said, that one affirmation that puts you in that good headspace, what is it? Especially for seasons of uncertainty, because I
Yeah.
definitely need some help with that.
No, I hear you. I have several, but I think the one that I go to, it's either scripture or either I'll come to this one that I repeat in my head sometimes, especially when things are a little overwhelming. But God, go before me, clear what's not for me, and give me peace for what is. So that's just kind of like my way of saying that I don't have to have it all figured out because I don't,
Yeah.
not all the time. And my job is really to just trust and to
Oh my
take a step.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are the business bestie that we all need. So that's why I'm
Thank you.
saying, moral of the story, moral of today's episode, if you are an upcoming emerging professional, executive, you need Kanika M. Watson Consulting as your business bestie. That's what I'm
Thank you.
saying.
I appreciate that.
But to that point, how can we keep up with all things Kanika Watson Consulting? I want to see all the content. You mentioned LinkedIn. Are you on
Yes.
Instagram? Give us all the things.
Sure. So to stay connected, I would suggest the kanikawatson.com. That's my website, my digital home.
Yeah.
I just made some updates to it, so check it out. The Career Branding Suite is one of my signature spaces for professionals, especially women of color who are ready
Yeah.
to rise and move forward with purpose. And so that has any and everything you need there, from coaching through accelerator programs to done for you resume and branding, career branding services and a bunch of other things, resources, free information also there as well. I am on Instagram. I am about to, let's see, I'm about to get onto Substack at some point. I'm also, I don't know when, but in the next few months, it's coming. It's somebody's convinced me to do YouTube, but I haven't done that yet. But right now I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn is my home also next to my, my website. So I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. That's obviously my main social source. And
Yeah.
I would go into Instagram as the next one. Yep.
Okay. Well, I will link all of those in the episode description
Okay.
because, like I said, everybody needs a business bestie, and you are that.
Thank you.
And I hope that I've empowered the listeners today with the right people, processes, and tools by giving you Kanika. So
Thank
please
you.
utilize her as a resource. Go check her out on LinkedIn. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.